April 24th, $199 1100 p.m. I arrive at home after my shift working for a division of the Railroad Intermodal Hub Group. Great job, fulfilling and on the rise as my ambition usually preceded anything else about my life. The look I was getting as we approached each other and embraced like always. She leaned back and grabbed my shoulders. "I have something to tell you," she said, looking in my eyes. I released my hold on her and stepped back. "I had an affair with DSH Bag, my brother-in-law," she said. I let that sink in for a second. I looked at her and said, "No kidding, I'm shocked. I just couldn't catch you. Who you think you were fooling?" I kept my voice down as our 4 children were sleeping. I told her to stay upstairs for a while. Walking downstairs to our beautiful finished basement, the room overflowing with memories. Now I am deciding what the fuck. However, this affair, I hate that word, affair, it's illicit fucking. I had her in the right mind set to talk. Probably my only chance. Accountability time. I knew how weak she was in this moment, eager to please and for me to forgive. I settled in on the couch that we had just spent last weekend on, fucking like teens. I called her down and she walked over and sat down. Looking at me, she leaned in and I backed away. "No, please don't touch me," crying, she said. "I'm so sorry, please." I remember this like it just happened. Why? I was as calm as I have ever been in my life. I swear by the end of it, she was so relaxed telling her story that I think she blanked me out as the person asking her. It was cold of her, like it was her comfort zone. Now a soft demeanor and voice. No inflections, no sarcasm. I began. I knew of 2 guys she cheated with while we dated over a period of 5 years. After we married, I couldn't actually catch her. Always an excuse and a way out to cover her activity. Just couldn't catch her. After all, I must be crazy to think such a thing. No, who me? But yet it was me she would accuse of cheating at one point. Sorry, nope. I must be crazy, right? Right, well, let's see here. We sat facing each other and I told her how much love I am with her. She is all that I wanted. The problem is this fucking she put in with my sister's husband ended over a year ago. She told me my sister was going to be coming over in the morning and tell me anyway. Okay. The last 4 months of our marriage, I lost that empty feeling I had gotten from her. She was really giving it back. I could feel it. I had never been more happy in my life. We always were flirty with each other since day one, at parties or wherever we'd kiss a little. Didn't give a fuck, we liked this. Kissing was fantastic. Yeah, I said kissing. Holding hands, I mean fuck. I loved being in love like this. Never felt closer to any person in my life, never. Shortly, as I now looked at the woman I've spent 15 years around, I tell her we can work this out. I love her with all my being. But first we need this talk. Okay. Yeah, okay, our marriage and up to that April moment. It began. I brought up everything I could think of over the years. Okay, check. I stopped. After she revealed the 7th, then the 8th. During our 10-year marriage, it was now 5 a.m. I excused myself to let our German shepherd outside. I walked around the corner and threw up. I could not believe what I just heard. Over the course of 4 hours spent calmly talking out of her what I was really becoming aware of, I think I was going into shock. Complete and total destruction of all I knew about where I thought I was with her, with us. Everything I thought about her could not have been further from the truth. Nothing I described in the first chapter was true about our marriage. Regardless of my perception of what I thought, nothing about it was true from her. Nothing. How could it be? The count that I became aware of was 8. Of those 8, 4 were in and had been in my close circle for years. 2 were people from our extended circle. 2 were unknowns that were work or bar fuck buddies. In the end, guess what? Our youngest daughter, Yi, 3 at the time, caught Uncle Dumby and Mommy Dearest FXXKXXG on the same couch I sat on downstairs. Yi had woken up from a nap and they didn't hear her. So what happens next? What the fuck could be worse than what my little girl just saw? What you say, did what? Invited Zizi under the covers with them, For Christ's sakes, are you kidding me? And of course, there are problems with being a single woman who's married. OMG, no birth control, let that sink into your head. I didn't know whose they were for, sir. Yeah, 3 abortions, you see that. 3 abortions, I don't remember at what point it was. Imagine if you would, slowly at first, your heart starts a slow escape. In a little while, all the love I had in my soul, slowly at first, then avalanche. It was no longer a mystery. The Empress has no clothes. The life was a lie. The house of cards has fallen. She had my sister come over to sit with our kids so my wife could go to the store. Then my wife could go to my sister's house and fuck her husband. 2 hours later, she comes home and says to my sister, she was at the store and upon leaving 4 black guys stopped her from leaving. Yeah, okay. Ironically, she returns from the store 2 hours later, with the milk she went after. Did I mention the best man in my wedding? He was my best friend 10 years running, my school teaching old pal. Upstanding guy that he isn't, with not a trace of character in his body. Does he have time for mattress checks in my home as well as his own? He does, they did, it's done. Everything in my life has now changed 180. No going back. The debauchery describes people with no sense of responsibility, even when caught beyond a shadow of doubt. 2 people closest to me for 20 years, grudgingly pull it out of them. Finally, yeah, okay, no sorry from either one. Nope, the love and all I knew, gone, nothing left. The kids were going to be taken out to my parents, and my wife, I told her to get out, right after the kids are taken care of. Now it's 6 p.m., the house is empty. My thoughts have finally begun, a slow descent into a numbness I've never felt before. For the next 24 hours, I'm sure there were brief moments that I was not crying. I would fall asleep for short periods of time. I would wake up to the grip of reality. It was waiting. For when my eyes would open, it was there, waiting to jump right back into my numbness. My heart was cold. My head was exploding. My thoughts take me where I would visualize the axe on scarred ground. A safe haven for your love, hope, and trust. All gone in a dirty vortex that blows its ugly collateral damage far into the future. The indescribable hurt swirls around you. A candle that lit up my life now burned an ugly, evil, and scorched trail. The person I described who accepted my words in love and caring ways from me, yet unimportant and worthless, was the final verdict. Myself, all we had the illusion anyway. Unimportant and worthless, anything she deemed necessary to silently declare. But I put it all away for tomorrow. It faded. Just below the surface, it waited. It altered the core value of all I believed. Gone. Heart beats fast, colors and promises. Finally you arrive at a place. The pictures and videos on the wall and burnt in my memory. The house my children played in, laughed and cried. I look outside and remember the last snowman we had built. The picture in my mind as my youngest daughter trying to navigate the sidewalk, a smile that's worth 1,000 times love. I'm not alone in all this turmoil, goes on every day. The pain, intentional infliction of pain. The planning out the lies for what? A 10-minute event that destroys people and families. How can a reasonable person do this in 72 hours? My life was looming in the midst of a smoldering house, burnt to the ground. Now 4 kids are not waiting for their dad to go into overdrive and get it done. They've now started the withdrawal from life before. Most of my time was spent in the new life doing laundry, everything, school, daycare. I asked her to leave. Overnight, I have a $800 a month for help inside when I'm at work, but time to think was over in a nanosecond. Got purpose? You better believe it. This is a baseline for doing what needs to be done. While the next 2 years and 6 months, I fought. She tried to actually get custody. She lost, before the divorce was final. Oh yeah, 1 year into her new relationship with a guy who lived in a trailer with no heat or running water. The big announcement, yeah baby, oh damn, no pun intended. But before the world would know, I had to go sign off on a legal document that released me from the baby on the way, created by my wife and the newest addition to her penis-pumping pelvis. The hillbilly she finally married. Now they have a son named Mike. Good kid too. In fact, I got to know her new hubby. I warned him about what she does and that it won't stop. And guess what? It didn't stop. She was in her element. No nagging fucking idiot like me to question her whereabouts. As long as she gets him some once in a while, I'm not kidding. Perfect for a married woman leading a single life. The thought and totality of events I've put in this story were but a small percentage of the actions. The years spent in court, and when the money was gone, settled. The love I was proclaiming was never in her. She said it, but I really think she tried, but not only did she not know what normal is, but she didn't know how to love either. It is heartbreaking, these circumstances that I didn't understand. Her and I talked about her upbringing. She told me of abuse inside the family. She was deeply hurt by her family. We talked about it. She always stopped short of actually taking care of herself. We tried. Her family was a strong influence. In fact, the family that drinks together are all birds of the same feather. They earned it. I nicknamed her family the real insane clown posse. No love for her. Sad though I thought it was real, but it did feel good. I want to feel that blowtorch effect inside me. I'm never looking for anything from her or about her ever again. But I said my piece to her in a note sent to her by our daughter. It's been over 7 days since she got it. No response. I'm not holding my breath, but after all this time, I would have thought a response either way would have arrived already. I take from that she's not ever dealt with what happened. Neither have I. Forgiveness, yes. Is it possible that unimportant and worthless can get worse than unimportant and worthless already is? Well, maybe. There was that paragraph about the last 4 months of our married life. I said I thought we had crossed a threshold into new territory between us. Never better. 2 days after she left, I had a knock at the door. It was a woman who we had both hung out with before. The look on her face wasn't good. The last 6 months she had been. You guessed it, 2 other guys at the bar we hung out at. She was banging 2 guys separately there. In fact, just a week since the last DNA spray test into my lovely bride. A new level of unimportant and worthless. This buried me in sorrow. The show my former wife put on to give me the illusion all was great, when I thought the last 4 months were the best ever. I must now add 2 more to the list. 10 total up now to a destroyed family. I actually believed in her. I'm not kidding either. If anyone thinks that it's okay to cheat, it's not. Story 2, I had been with this person for 5 months while they were deployed in my country, working as part of the CAT at the embassy. It started out as meeting at a coffee shop, which was followed by a walk and eventually watching stand-up at his place while we shared beers. Needless to say, the first time we met went very well, especially because he didn't try to make a move at me, we only kissed. He would later on tell me that he didn't want to be sluzzy and treat me like a ONS, because he had really liked me and didn't want to ruin anything potential by having sex on the first day we met. A bit of background information on this guy from what he had told me. He was 32, from North Carolina, and lived with his dog, joined the Army, but then took 3 years off to finish college from Ohio State University. Rejoined the Army, had been in Iraq, Afghanistan, etc. before he switched to civil affairs. After which he had been deployed to few countries in Asia. His last relationship was 3 years ago when he had been in Singapore with this Indian woman named Laxmi, but it ended because she didn't want to move to the US. He said that really had an effect on him, and so he stopped trying to pursue anything serious, especially due to the nature of his job. This is all relevant to what I later find out and my assumptions based on what I found out about him. So our coffee date turned into something more regular. We would meet and hang out. There were obvious sparks between us. Mornings starting with good morning texts and nights ending with speaking to each other. We would be spending weekends together. which turned into sleepovers with wine, movies, candlelit pillow talks, and all the cheesy, dreamy, romantic things that you do when you're newly in love. Pretty soon he was asking me to spend Thanksgiving, Christmas, this party, that club, this person's going away party and whatnots that their team/colleagues/social circle was hosting, and we started to show up as a couple. He would invite me as his girlfriend and introduce me to people as such. This is also relevant to the story because I'm sure at least his teammates would have known that this bastard was married. I honestly cannot believe how a person can fake so much of themselves just for some good lay because of how he had been with me. Had I not known that this person was so full of shit, I would have said that it was the best of all the guys I have been with and dated. He was sweet, caring, funny, attractive, fun to hang around with, and we had the most amazing sex ever. How could I have ever known what evil schemes he had been hiding from me and how he was using me? He would surprise me at my work with coffee, pick me up from work, and we would go back to his place and have dinner together, and then he would drop me off back home, almost routinely. When I was looking for a new job, he insisted on picking me up and driving me to the interviews, be my cheerleader, comfort me whenever I was down, and tell me how much he loved me. That's how sweet he was. This person would hold my hand while driving, support my sleeping, lolling body with his free hand while he drove with his other hand, bring me my favorite green tea drink when he came to pick me up because I once said this is my new favorite drink. He would be hugging me and kiss my shoulder, forehead and cheeks when I'd be asleep with my head resting on his chest, take care of me when I got too tipsy. I had accidentally gotten my period one time I was staying over at his place, and to comfort the very embarrassed mess I was, he ran a hot shower for me and got in the shower with me to comfort me. That's the guy I had known him to be, and I had really started to fall for this person. For Christmas, he got me a chain with the coordinates of the first place we met. Wrote me dizzying, romantic, heartfelt long texts and love letters often. The few times one of us had been out of town for few days, it was always restless and filled with conversations of how much we missed each other, even emotional breakdowns from talking about how much more difficult it would be when he had to go back, which often ended with both of us crying/sobbing. Apparently his family got to know about he because his brother let it slip to his mom and dad, and he would show me texts of his conversation with his parents where they'd be talking about how things were going with us. And all, I figured out later that he was using his local phone and his US phone to basically write a whole damn story. We would playfully talk about having mixed babies and life together, and he started to tell me about possibilities of moving to the US. I am just going to say from now on when you come, not if, because I really want this to manifest. And tell me about the possibilities of me moving to the US with a fiancé/spouse visa because that would be easier for me. He would always say, I know it's very unfair for me to ask this of you because you would have to come here with me leaving everything familiar, but I will support you in whatever way I can and to make this work. Note that I never asked to move anywhere with him, and I had always expressly said that I'm happy loving every moment in the present, and regardless of what the future held, I would cherish my time with him no matter what happened between us. I didn't think things would take such a turn from a coffee date, and I had no expectation. From where I am and my whole situation, I never really had any plans of moving to the US because I simply couldn't afford to make it happen, and what I studied would make it very difficult for me to find a job there, so there had been no ulterior motifs on my part. I just really liked this guy and liked being with him with no expectation. As things got more serious, I did want it to become more permanent and let things take its natural course, and was looking for ways on what I could do to be together. I was not simply going to be dependent on someone and change countries on a whim. I am stupid, but not that stupid. Anyway, fast forward a few months, I get an email from a certain someone saying they saw some Google Hangout chats between me and her husband and was asking me how I knew him, who I was. I did something I shouldn't have at that moment because the sheer shock of it had left me incapable of thinking clearly. I did the worst thing I could have done at that moment. I showed a screenshot of the email and sent it to him asking him to explain who that person was and why he had been lying to me. One thing led to another, and after a lot of angry sobbing, crying, questioning, and accusing, he said he was hacked and was running all his devices with the RSO to sort shit out, all bullshit, and skipping work to come and meet me. He apologized and cried, and with a shaky voice and trembling hands reassured me over and over again how this wasn't true, and what he could do to prove that it was all a lie. So I had asked him to show me his passport, his visa paperwork, and his payslips. He agreed and would later on show me the paperworks which showed that he was single with no dependents, fake documents with his name on them. However, he couldn't show me his passport because apparently all their passports with other stuff were kept in a locker, and he would have to get it from his team leader, basically stalling me. While all this was going on, I also replied to the email and waited for them to respond. I was helplessly looking for answers, the truth, and wanting it all to be a lie, desperately wanting to believe everything this person had fed me for all this time. I couldn't believe that anyone could cheat to this extent, especially a person of his position, and with everything he said to me and did to me. He had told me that he didn't have any social media. He deleted it all after the whole Trump election thing, but of course it had been a lie, and I had to check. I did look him up out of curiosity before all this started to unravel, but after the email I searched again with friends' accounts and of course, he had blocked me. This lying, cheating, narcissistic son of a bitch had lied about so much to me. He was indeed married since 2008 to his high school sweetheart, 38-year-old father to two beautiful kids. They had triplets, but one passed away soon after birth. I found his wedding event, maternity shoot, holiday photos. His wife and kids and everything, and what I was feeling at that moment can only be described as a living nightmare. All of a sudden, every moment I had spent with this creepy psychopath, who had basically been grooming me and manipulating me, seemed like something straight out of a nightmare. I felt like I was being exploited and raped because had I known all of this, would I be willingly having sex with this person? Exposing all my vulnerabilities to him so that he can exploit those to manipulate me. I felt exploited physically and mentally and emotionally, and what I felt at that time, I don't wish anyone to ever go through that. I had told this bastard about my depression and suicidal past, and he took advantage of that to manipulate me. God knows in how many ways he has been manipulating and deceiving his wife, and how many women he played like this. I first confronted the gutless psycho, recorded the whole confrontation, and sent it along with photos of us being cute and shit to his wife. To put things into perspective, when I showed him photos of his dead kid, he said those kids weren't his. The wedding photos weren't his, and that woman is just an ex with kids with a deadbeat dad that he so willingly raised while they were together. I haven't lost respect like this for anyone in a long time, and it makes me wonder about the kind of nasty things that goes on in the army. Are they all like this? All of his coworkers knew me and they had to know he was married. He would tell me about this friend who had triplets and how she was in a bad marriage. Her chemistry died with the husband because the sex wasn't good. I have obviously blocked the psycho out from everywhere and cut off all ties. I am still trying to process what happened to me in these past few months and seeing a therapist. How could a person lie so much just for some good lay? How would the wife be feeling as she really knows? How can someone fuck their decade-long marriage like this? After all I had said to him and bearing myself and loving him, how could he still deceive me like this? How can I ever trust anyone again, any relationship, a marriage, any man? I know it's completely wrong, but every time I see any army person/vet, I reflexively recoil with disgust, because they all seem like scheming, conniving cunts to me. How do I stop myself from missing the godless cunt who ruined commitments for me? We talk so much about wives/husbands who have been cheated, but as the other woman or side chick, especially when we don't know that's what we are, it is much more difficult to find forums or spaces where their grieves are also discussed, shared, and understood. I am sorry for the extremely long post, but venting it out was momentarily therapeutic for me. TLDR, US Army guy lied about his age, marital status, denied his kid's existence, and used me for 5 months.